Good evening, YouTube, and welcome back to Possum Farms and Flat Possum Motorsports. Last night, after dinner, I had Thomas and Lane come back out to the Miata, and we went and put it up on a lift because we wanted to take a look at the brakes, and I wanted to look at the undercarriage, and that's where we stopped. Now that Thomas is at work, I can take my time and go through and look and take my handy dandy little GoPro camera and take this up underneath there with a flashlight and show you what the underside of this car looks like. So come along with us as we check out the Miata, look at the brakes, and see what we're up against. Okay, Thomas is going to lift up his Miata for the second time, and we want to look at the brakes, see what kind of condition they're in, and I want to get a good look at that catalytic converter. It looks like it's been damaged, and I want to make sure that we get that fixed pronto. A little more up, a little more. The other side latch. Is it past that stop? Keep going?
No, that's as far as I can go.
As far as it can go. Okay, then ease it back down. Is it latched?
Yeah.
Or do I have to flip it?
It's good.
Just gotta use a little bit more like force because it's just like they're pretty tight on there. That's where it's supposed to be.
Get it all the way. You're not all the way in.
Yeah, make sure it's like
It's got to be all the way seated.
like try to turn it and the socket should. Oh.
Oh man, it wasn't fully seated.
No, it was. It was all the way down.
Then why is it stuck?
I don't know. Here, well, sometimes they get
Go
stuck.
back to get Thomas. Let me have it so you don't destroy the socket. And yeah, you can get it off.
I mean, sometimes I get stuck too if the lugs are wore out.
There we go. Oh yeah, dry as a bone.
Yeah.
There's some PV blaster up there, Thomas. Right behind you. There we go.
I know it doesn't sound good, but I promise it's not stripping. I don't know, this one's not one. You got more of that
PV blaster. Right there, son.
Moving it around.
Right where Lane left it.
Oh, sorry. Maybe just a little more. It's like it should be coming off pretty soon. Yeah, hold on. Oh, it looks fine. It's just really tight on there, I guess. It's been stuck for.
Yeah. Did you see what he just did with his foot?
Yeah, I did.
That's the perfect way to do it.
Yes.
Okay. I don't see a bunch of corrosion.
Yeah.
Where that has adhered itself to the spindle or
Rotor.
Rotor. That's the word I'm looking for, rotor. Those don't look too bad.
Yeah, it looks like the pads are intact too. Like we looked at the pads a little bit, and we looked, and also it's not.
That's what I was worried about right there. That flex hose. That
Oh.
looks like it's still in pretty good shape.
Yeah, that stuff's tricky about it. If you're working on it, you gotta.
Those have got a lot of meat on them.
Yeah. Shouldn't be worried about that.
And I don't see any funky scuffs, so that it doesn't look like they're out of round or looks like they're still.
Just smooth grooves in here.
Yeah. Usually, when you go and shine a light on it like this,
You'll see all kinds of
you'll see a
gouges.
pattern in a wavy pattern where parts of it are silver and parts of it are rusty. That's when you know that they're not flat and true anymore. Now that Thomas is at work, I can take my time and inspect things at my leisure and not have to worry about any distractions as I take a look at this car and evaluate what we're going to end up having to do to it. I know the shocks have some issues. They were bottoming out when we were doing some spirited driving in a parking lot, so I expect something to be wrong with them. And as we went and looked at the brakes last night, they actually looked pretty good. Looked like they were in pretty good shape. But with the GoPro, we'll take a closer look, see what it really looks like. Yeah, this'll work. We were taking a look at the brake pads, and the mechanic that we bought this from said he'd done a front brake job on it, and looks like he did. Pads look pretty good. They got lots of meat on them. The rotors, everything is, all the marks are concentric. There's no wavy spots to them, so it looks like they're running true. Yeah, they could probably be turned. I can run my finger across it, and I can feel a little bit of striation, but no big deal. Totally normal wear. What I was really worried about was this. That's the brake line. I wanted to see if any of these were cracked, crumbling, coming apart, looking like it was, you know, original equipment. Everything seems to be in one piece. I don't see any wet spots. Nothing appears to be leaking. And the brakes feel good. I haven't felt any brake fade or anything, so I'm pretty happy there. I've been looking at suspension bushings. Most of them look like they're still in pretty darn good shape. No cracking, there's no squishing, there's no separating. Even the tie rod end links here for the anti-sway bar and the sway bar bushings, they look good. They don't look like they're all worn out. So we don't have a problem there. Been looking at hoses. All the hoses look like they're okay. Don't think we'll have to go and fiddle with any of that, which is a good thing. Save Thomas some money. And here I'm looking at the back brakes. Back brakes are tiny brakes. They're not nearly as big as the front. And the pads don't, make as much contact. However, I noticed when I took a good look at these, they don't have near as much meat on them as the one in the fronts do. So when he said he did a front brake job, that means he just did a front brake job. He didn't do anything to the back. But again, I don't see any leaks. I don't see any wet spots. The brake lines are all nice and flexible. They're not cracked or crumbly, which, to be honest, is a little disappointing because I thought about putting a brake kit on here. Doesn't look like we have to. And the bushings all look good. However, that shock absorber has a problem. You can see that the boot's been gone for a while. And although I don't see any wet spots or anything, I can tell you from how it handled, I think Thomas is going to get a set of coilovers faster than he expected. We're going to need it. We're over here on the passenger side, and this one looks like it's original because it's slightly smaller diameter than the one on the other side, and it's a little harder. It's not crumbly or cracking or anything, but you can tell by touching it, it's harder. So maybe we'll go ahead and get him a set of stainless steel braided brake lines for this thing, just so that thing's taken care of. Gone and looked at the emergency brake cable. That's the one that goes off in this direction here. This one here. Everything seems to be working. Everything seems to be free. Again, the shock boot's gone on this one, and I can tell the piston in the middle is off center. So that shock is gone. We're going to definitely have to get another one of those. And the bushings on the anti-sway bar are fine, but I'm looking at the size of that anti-sway bar. That little bar right there, that's just tiny. We're going to put one in that's probably about 3/4 of an inch or 1/2 inch or something a heck of a lot bigger than that. We'll probably do that when we do the coilover conversion. But, like I was saying, on the other side, all the bushings appear to be in pretty decent shape. The rotors appear to be in pretty good shape. And again, there's a lot of meat missing on that brake pad. So we definitely need some brake pads in the back. Now we're on the front passenger side front wheel. Again, the brakes look good. All the wear marks are where they ought to be. And there's no serious grooves or anything nothing I can catch with my fingernail as I drag it across there. Still got plenty of meat left on the brake shoes. And the brake cable looks like it's in pretty darn good shape. No cracking or crumbling. But if you're going to replace one wheel back there, we're going to go ahead and replace all of them. And the shock boot on this side is busted too. So we got 3 shocks that have been running around without any protection. And yeah, they're just going to have to flat out be replaced, unfortunately. But that's not terrible news. All of the bushings over here on this side appear to be in good condition. So I'm thankful for that. And now we're going to go crawl around underneath the car. One of the things I noticed when I crawled under here last night, excuse me, that's a stainless steel aftermarket universal replacement muffler, I think, and that is not stainless steel tubing. That's regular old muffler shop pipe that they took forward and then they welded directly onto the back of the resonator off the original system. And then in front of the resonator is a piece of stainless going into the catalytic converter. On the other side, that is not stainless steel pipe either. That's regular old muffler shop pipe. However, they went and put the original tip on. So, yeah. There's not a problem with that not being the original muffler, but it's not original, and I think we want to upgrade that anyway. So, yeah, it's not going to be in there for long. Crawling further underneath the car, this right here is a resonator. This right here is a piece of stainless steel pipe. There's the catalytic converter. We were getting a lot of heat inside the car, and I thought that these gaskets must be blown. Actually, the gaskets are in good shape. That one's in good shape. And this is the catalytic converter. Where in the world are we getting all that heat from? Where in the world? Then we discovered that. I don't know how well you can see that, but that's the shifter boot, where the shifter for the transmission comes through the floor. That's failed, and I can see carpet. And last night, they could see light coming up into the inside of the car from my flashlight. So now we know where all that blistering heat was coming from in the center of the car, because this is located right above the catalytic converter, and that catalytic converter gets really, really hot. Now in front of the catalytic converter, that gasket also looks good, and that's a piece of stainless pipe with a heat shield. Let me see, right there. It's got the heat shield intact, going right up into the engine bay. So, that's original. That's original. And it doesn't look like it's been touched. So, I'm happy there. Sorry for the funky camera angle. I'm on a crawler up underneath the car. And that's somebody driving by. You can see lots of gunk and gook, grease, yuck. The whole bell housing is just covered in oil. Just covered. And the bottom of the engine is covered with wet oil. So we've got some leaks up above, and everything is just running downhill, I think. I think when we get that valve cover problem straightened out, I think we'll be all right. Get rid of most of this oil leak problem. But other than that, the underside looks good. You know, for 160,000 miles, I think he's got a really nice purchase out of the deal. I really do. And of course, we went through the engine compartment last night. Right along the seams here, you can see oil seepage. And a lot of seepage back here. So, gasket replacements. If you go and take a look down at the front side of the engine here, you'll see a lot of grease, gunk, and oil. Tom said it was dripping off of there. I think that dripping is coming from up here, I really do. Because I see it wet. I mean, actually glistening wet. So, we'll try to take care of that. Well, after closer inspection, I think Thomas got a pretty decent deal. All of the suspension bushings are in pretty good shape, which is, you know, some of those are a real pain in the butt to deal with and replace. The brakes look good. I'm a little disappointed there because if the brakes were all toast and the hoses were crumbling and we had wavy line, you know, wavy stuff going on with the rotors, would have given me an excuse to go and slap an entire Willwood system on here and boop, be done with it. That's not the case. The stock stuff that's designed to last a long time is working just fine and saved me some money. It's going to cost Thomas some money later, but my point was for him is I wanted to get this thing safe so he could go out and drive it and have fun. And pretty much after that, you know, he spent a lot of his own money on this car. This first car he's ever bought with his own money. And I told him, I will help you make it safe. After that, it's all on you. So, yay, I don't have to buy brakes. Bummer, I don't have to buy brakes. The shocks, one up front looks good. The other one doesn't look so good. And the two in the back, I know, are basically toast. They just have to be replaced. So, Thomas is already looking at four-corner coilover conversion kits for this. He wants the adjustability. I want to make sure he gets the ones with the helper spring so it's a little bit more friendly on the street. And he'll be set for that. And what else did I go over? Oh, the exhaust. When we were driving this thing around the parking lot the other day and we're coming home, I mean, I put my hand down between the seat and the hump. Tried to put my hand on the hump, and man, I couldn't keep my hand on the hump. It was so hot. So we evidently had a bunch of heat coming up through the floor somewhere. We had a blown gasket or something, and I expected one of the two gaskets or maybe both gaskets on the catalytic converter to have been blown out. That's not the case. I'm going to run my finger all around it. There's no charring, there's no soot or anything, so that's working good. I went and inspected the pipe last night. There are no pinholes. It's taken the exhaust all the way to the back. After closer inspection, that shifter boot that is just completely gone and allowing my flashlight light to come up through the car that they can see from outside, that's where my heat's coming from. So we're definitely going to have to fix that so it's comfortable for him to drive. Otherwise, we're going to end up with a cooked kid. And the tires are in pretty good shape. They were relatively new tires, the guy said when he sold it to us, which is a good thing. On the other hand, it's a bad thing because now I don't have the excuse to go out and buy Thomas some really expensive, really sticky, nice tires. But for right now, this is his first sports car. Let him go out and tear up these tires. I'm not going to go and do anything with the clutch anytime soon because let him go and tear up this clutch. Once he gets to where he really is good using the clutch, then we can replace it. But until it needs replacing, why replace it? Other than that, it's ready to run and drive. It's ready for him to really go out and have some fun with. And I know he's itching to get out there on the road, and we need to put some miles on it now that we've gone and put the seafoam in the oil and in the gasoline. We need to go run it for, I don't know, 300, 350, 400 miles, no more than 500, and then do the oil change again and do the Marvel mystery oil trick and maybe after that oil change, the third oil change, we'll go in and put some conditioner in there. AMSOIL makes some stuff for high mileage engines. You put that stuff in the oil, it goes in real thick, but you go and run it for a couple thousand miles, and what it does is it goes and seals up the rings and puts some stuff in the walls of the cylinders, to where those rings that were having some oil blow-by problems don't have oil blow-by problems anymore. I've used this stuff before in the past with high mileage engines, and it works. And I have high confidence that it'll work for Thomas. And but yeah, that's where we stand. And oh, by the way, last night he did put the windshield wipers on. We just didn't catch any of that on video. So he has brand new windshield wipers. Good windshield wipers. Come back and see us. Like, subscribe. Come back and see some more of Thomas working on his Miata.